What's up, you people? David here, and I am back after a long break and a long journey. And I will be back posting consistently and posting videos, all kinds of videos, because I have a lot to get off my mind and my chest. But I recognize that I have been gone for a while. I have a totally new camera. I do not have my old camera anymore. It's been a long journey. I am not in California anymore. I'm back in Texas. Things weren't really going that good back where I was living, so me and Asia decided to move to Texas with my family, and I'm gonna get into that in this video, my first video back on here. I have tons of video ideas, tons of things I want to talk about, but I'm going to start with the story of how I ended up here, and to respect people's privacy, I'm not going to say any names, and I will probably have images and everything blurred or everything, but I just want to tell you, anyone who is going through family dysfunction, I want to let you know that you're not insane, you're not delusional, and that it is very bad, and it's very emotionally exhausting, mentally exhausting, and even at times physically exhausting. And I want to say, don't ever let anyone bully you into silence. Don't ever let anyone try to manipulate you or gaslight you or make you their slave, their people pleaser, their scapegoat, because they will. People will take advantage of you. Sometimes the most toxic people around you is the people that you love the most, which is your family. It could be your family, it could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your best friend. It doesn't really matter. There's people that will use you and take advantage of you and then dispose of you like you were nothing but garbage. And that's what I've been going through. That's what my wife has went through. And I have to say that I would never, ever, if I had kids, put my kids through that. And I want to say that the only reason we've ever been unstable in our lives is because we had no one to truly depend on. We had parents that will rather feed our distractions, will rather feed us what hurts us than what helps us. They're more invested in what's hindering us than what's actually moving us forward. You want to know why? Because they want to keep you dependent on them. And I've been going through this throughout my life with my toxic friends, with my family. I have tons of videos talking about my family, and now it's gotten to a point where I have been written off by even my cousins for speaking the truth. I have seen countless videos of when scapegoats or when anybody speaks the truth, that they are written off from the family, and people tell lies about them and discredit them and call them delusional and call them crazy and try to frame it in a way that everything they say is not valid. And I'm here to make this video to say it is. Now, me and my wife moved from California, which was another toxic household. I'm not going to dive too much deep into that, but we was dealing with a dysfunctional situation there, and then we moved to Texas on November 21st. Now, when it comes to my family, the first few days was great. We talked, we hung out, we did everything, and while there were still underlying issues, they weren't showing. Let's say they weren't exactly as prominent. Then, as weeks passed, we started having, family meetings, my siblings aren't exactly the most respectful, but I call them the favorites because they do not get as much ridicule or criticism or lectures as if I was to do the same thing they would do, it would be worse for me. So I had meetings and discussions with my parents about respect, because they're providing everything for my siblings. They're providing everything for my siblings, like a roof to sleep under, food, everything, right? And my siblings do not respect my parents whatsoever. My sister even hates my dad. Well, she would say she hates my dad. And one of the main reasons is because when you live in a household where two of your parents are in an unhappy relationship, it becomes your whole household is divided. The parents is what makes the household. If the parents are together, they love each other, they're in unison, then the household, it has more structure. My parents, due to problems in the past, do not have that kind of relationship. So you're almost forced onto a side, you know. My mother, very dismissive, very non-confrontational, but very enabling. My brother and sister obviously gravitate towards my mother. My father is very overbearing, sometimes very stubborn, you know, but he works. And at times he could be understanding, but most times he isn't. But I don't choose a side. As both sides are flawed, I don't choose a side. I love both of my parents the same. But in this house, loving everyone doesn't mean anything, you know. So you're gonna choose a side. And my siblings chose my mother, you know. So because they chose my mother, they don't respect my father's word. My mom makes it where you don't have to be obedient. There is no structure. My brother ignored my father at one point for 4 hours, right? Because he asked a simple question. He's like, okay, so are you going to school? Are you going to work? Like, what is your future? Like, just let me know, you know? And all he had to say is, oh yeah, I'm going to school, or I'm going to go to work, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. But my brother chose to say absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And we were all sitting there watching him say absolutely nothing. But it's because of the lack of respect and the enabling where you reward bad behavior. My mother rewards that behavior because guess who pays his phone bill? My mom. Yet he doesn't have the decency to respond to a simple question that they ask because he's trying to prove that they're not in charge of him. Basically, my siblings want to prove to my parents that they're not in charge anymore, that they're grown, that they can do whatever they want, you know? And I was like, this is a problem. This is a problem because they're my parents too. And it shouldn't be that way. There shouldn't be a household where the kids or your children don't listen, don't talk, don't respect, don't love you, but yet reap off of all your benefits and leech off of you. That shouldn't be a thing. So we have all these discussions, right? And they get nowhere. I'm being told that I'm focused too much on them and that I need to focus on my wife. That is a manipulative, dismissive tactic that people use. When someone doesn't want to talk about something, they always say, shouldn't you be focused on this? Shouldn't you be focused on that? Shouldn't you be focused on your own life? Shouldn't you be focused on getting a job? Shouldn't you be focused on your wife? Shouldn't you be focused on this? They do that to evade. They do that to run because they don't want to be held accountable and they don't want to deal with their problems. So they use that oftentimes to run from them, right? And so I go through a very emotional and mental time. I just wanted to make a video today, you know, basically because I haven't made one in a long time. Recently, you know, I've been staying with like my family and I've been struggling, you know, emotionally to, you know, bond with them and connect with them. It's just not something that they prioritize, you know. So moving back in with them kind of like reopened some wounds, you know. And it kind of made me realize a lot. What it made me realize is that you can't help who doesn't want help, you know, and you can't fix who don't want to be fixed. And it doesn't even matter if it's the right thing. Everybody has to want to do the right thing for it to be carried out. And I realized with my family that a lot of what I'm saying isn't wrong. It's just that they don't want what I want, and they don't really care that I want it. And it's just something that I have to learn to live with. It's nothing that I can really do about it. Like, it's just something that they're just kind of like, yeah, we're this way. We don't want to be together. We don't want to listen. We don't want to change for the better. And you just have to let that be. I'm just emotionally and mentally exhausted. Like, I could say that I'm gravely disappointed that a lot of people, ultimately they don't care to do what's right anymore. And I just feel like I have to grieve my family. It's like, it sucks. It sucks when you have people that don't want you. I mean, I just figured out, like, I just really felt like that they didn't want me. They didn't want me enough to listen. They didn't want me enough to love me. They didn't love me enough to understand me. They didn't. Right, and I break down and I get mad and I start making posts on Facebook that wasn't too volatile, but definitely was a lot of personal things said on Facebook. Now it's debatable on whether or not it was appropriate, because for me it was my only outlet to express and to vent, because in this house, I don't know if any of you ever felt like this, it does not feel safe to express yourself in a place where emotions and stuff are not valid or not cared for or not even acknowledged. It doesn't feel safe to talk, express. It's like almost like you're not allowed to feel anything, right? So I go on a tangent and I go on a rant about how my brother wants to be a wannabe thug and how my sister's overly obsessed with internet relationships, internet dramas and trends and everything like that, and how my parents are not happily married and all this different stuff. And what happens is I mention one of my cousin's name, right? And he is playing football right now. And I mentioned how because he's playing football, the family puts him on a pedestal and they all repost his post and they all, in a sense, kind of praise him. I get support, but there's a difference between support and praise. I will never make a difference between my kids. If one of my kids are playing sports, I will probably support them, but I'll never sit there and act like this is my breadwinner, this is the golden child. As soon as somebody decides somebody is the golden child, you've already made a difference between your kids. As soon as you say, well, this one's in the spotlight, this is the one I'm going to use to represent me, you've already made a difference, because you're like, oh, my other two kids, they're not as special as this one. So in my family, I made a post mentioning it, and I was like, y'all post him everywhere, but you forget that you have other kids too. They should have the same acknowledgement as the kid that you're sitting out there just pushing and praising. They got mad. My cousins got mad at me and cussed me out. They cussed me out and told me to stay out of their life and stay out of their business. They called my parents, basically telling them to put me in check. And you want to know what my parents did when I told them that they've cursed me out, called me out their name? They told me it's all your fault. They told me it was my fault. They blamed me. They didn't have my back. They didn't even say, well, you're wrong for this and then the other people are wrong for this. No, they said, you're fully accountable. You're fully to blame. You're wrong. And it hurt. And my mom, and she was acting utterly disappointed in me. And my brother and my sister were acting disappointed in me. And everybody was really just sitting there staring at me and scolding me and looking at me like I was just nothing. And so that hurt. That happened somewhere around Christmas time, coincidentally, because I didn't even plan it. And then somewhere around New Year, right, I made another post saying, it's weird how everyone could write me out of their lives, or how everyone could do this, but they couldn't give me a single phone call, and they had my number. And if they had a problem and they wanted to have a mature conversation, I would have had that with them. But they are so quick to call you, to curse you out, to insult you, to threaten you even. But they can't even call you to ask you why you feel the way that you feel. They can't even call you out of concern or understanding. They have to call you in a way to belittle you and demean you. And you want to know what? During my time where I was almost going to be homeless back in California, they did send me money. I'm not going to take that away from my family because I appreciate it. But let me tell you something about help. All help isn't help. Some people help you so they can have a position over you, so they can have control over you, so they can say, oh, I did this for you, so now I can demean you and treat you however I want because you need me, because you depend on me. Now it doesn't matter if I gossip about your situation to other people or I belittle you, because you should be grateful that I even helped you. Is that really help? If I sat there and gave a homeless person some pizza and I'm like, you know what, you're in debt to me. You're in debt to me. You know what? I could talk about you. I could tell you how much you don't mean. I could tell you how much your life is worthless because you need me. Because you can't make it on your own. What kind of help is that? That's not true generosity. That's just the transactional love. And that's what all dysfunctional families go off of. It's transactional love. It's, oh, I will give you this, but in return, you give me your dignity. I will take your dignity from you so that you have nothing. That's not true generosity. So not all help is true help if the person's just going to sit there and beat you down. You want to know why so many people are too proud or too ashamed to ask for help? Because they were made to feel like a disappointment whenever they needed someone. Whenever they needed somebody there for them, they were made to feel weak. They were made to feel ashamed of themselves. That's why most people don't ask for help, because they're tired of feeling like I can't do it on my own. And because I can't do it on my own, other people are going to look down on me and belittle me and step and walk all over me. That's why people bully you just because you need them, and that's wrong. And my family did the same thing to me. I was on the verge of homelessness, dealing with a toxic family household, and this was my wife Asia's family, and I asked them for help. And because I asked them for help, they go behind my back and call me broke and call me all these different names and just run my name through the mud without me even knowing. And the only reason why I do know that they did that is because I called one of my cousins and they said, yeah, you want to know what? We did talk about you. We do gossip about you, but we don't post it online. We do call you broke, but that's what family's supposed to do. They normalize toxic behavior and they shame you for not conforming to their toxic pattern. They want you to conform. They want you to adapt to something that is unfair, that is unjust, that is toxic, that is more than likely evil. And I believe in God. And a lot of people in my family may say they do, but I don't see it. And when they cussed me out on the phone and laughed at me, they told me that they were going to get on my parents next. And I think they cussed out my dad on the phone too, even though he utterly denies it, just to protect them or protect their image, or to make sure the narrative stays on David is wrong. But they cussed him out. They called him broke. They called my mom broke. They called them stupid. They called me a weirdo. And then they wrote me out of their lives. And they told my parents, don't ever, ever, ever call us again. All of you guys can stay away from us. And he put it on me. He was like, you know what? I can't say you ruined this family because it was already bad. But he said, all I did is throw gasoline on a fire. Let me tell you something. In front of people's faces, they could be the kindest people. But behind closed doors, you wouldn't even want to know them. You wouldn't even want to know them. And somewhere around New Year, I was getting to that. After I made that post about people not calling me, after I was going through my depression, after I was going through all this stuff, my cousin says, you know what, people are definitely not going to call you now. And I replied to their comments because I kept in my head, I don't know, I just couldn't let it go. And then they called again. They unblocked my father to call him again and to tell him, you know, David's still going for it. David is still talking about it. And I think that was the last time I talked to them. That was the last time, was like New Year time. And ever since then, I haven't said anything to them. Because every time I have ever been in contact with them, it was my fault. And even when it came to my father and my mother and everybody else, it's always my fault. I called them bastards at one point because I was just so angry at this household, how they turned something that could be so simple into something so complicated. I have audios of the meeting, so I might, like I said, I'm gonna show little clips and bits and pieces somewhere in here. You could have told us then. I'm already enrolled. I started in March. We wouldn't even have no meeting today, but you didn't say nothing. That just made me think, okay, is he enrolled? Is he not enrolled? What's he doing? When you don't communicate, nobody knows what to think. That's how important communication is. We already ain't on the same page.
It's not meats or nothing like that. You just get upset if you see me like buy juices or something.
But I'm just saying, I'm in a house right now. We done moved into a house. And so far, the first few days of staying in this new house that me and my wife are staying in with my parents, the first few days were awful. You know why? Because guess what? The favorites, my brother and sister, they don't have to deal with anything. But me, because Asia is associated with me, we both have to go through something. There's chores to be done in the house, right? But me and Asia have to take care of like 90% while my siblings take care of like 10%. And also, me and Asia are always required to do something. Like me and Asia have to go by a certain routine, like vacuum the room every day, do this, do that. Otherwise, there's going to be a meeting and there's going to be like, oh, we all stay here and y'all are not contributing or y'all not helping. You could just get out of the house if that's the way it's going to be. That's the kind of meeting we'll have if we don't do certain things, right? So we're always, it's like dangling keys in front of your face. It's always going to be, well, oh, what? You got a problem with how we're treating you? Oh, you got a problem with how we're talking to you? Oh, did you know this is not your house? Did you know you didn't have to stay here? Did you know you needed us, basically? Oh, because you need us? Oh, you think you could survive outside? I doubt that you will even survive a day. That's the way they talk. You have to have so much endurance when it comes to this, you know. I mean, I was told, like, you know, when you're on a Christian journey, there is long suffering. I'm a Christian, you know, and this is long suffering. This is the period of time where I have to endure with patience and tolerance, because that's the only way that I can remain sane. Because I'm the type of person where when I witness injustice or when I witness something wrong, I can't be a bystander to it and just let that be, you know? I have this like inclination to say something, to bring it to attention and try to resolve it. And with people, when you're in a house of runners, when you're in a house of people who run, deny, and try to escape every single problem, try to avoid, invade, just never talk about anything, it kills me dealing with those people. I can't deal with people who just see a problem and don't want to resolve it, who just want to live comfortably, because them not expressing themselves, them not communicating well is so normal for them, and it's not normal for me. And they always say, oh, David, you need to communicate better. And I talk more than them. I don't understand how you could turn a situation that's comfortable into an awkward or uncomfortable one just because you might have a problem with me that I don't know that you have, but you're going to project everything that you feel onto me. This whole house is full of projection. My dad is mad at his relationship with my mom. My dad is mad at his relationship with my siblings. And he projects it onto me because I'm the only one that cares. My mom and my siblings don't care about anything. They're very just whatever, you know. They just do whatever they want. They're very just complacent. They're just, I don't know what they are, but I could share posts. I could show you that they worship the idols of this world. There's plenty of videos on my channel that will show you that. And I hate family dysfunction. This whole video is just going to be family dysfunction, because family dysfunction ruins the lives of people. And I've seen so many people silenced, muzzled, and actually some actually conformed. There's some people that broke into submission to these people who are probably narcissistic manipulators. They actually will eventually believe that they were wrong. The gaslighting and everything would be successful, and they'll just take the blame because they get tired of fighting. People take the blame from toxic family dysfunction because they get tired of fighting. They give up. They're like, if you think I'm crazy, I guess. And it seems like that is the only time people will really accept them, is when they have accepted the lie. And I won't accept the lie. And I want all you people at home to know that you don't have to accept the lie either.
Losing the feeling.